am so excited. We are finally here. Sorry, I'm going to grab the book. Didn't pick it up. This book, I have to tell you just a little bit of the background of it. This book was really something I knew I needed to do. This is absolutely my mission in life. And over a year and a half ago, I started creating the book proposal for it. Wasn't exactly sure what it was going to be at that time. And it has created itself as it needed to be. So I turned in the manuscript May of 2024. So this is such a long process to go through this traditional publishing process, but it's so worth it because, oh my gosh, this is going to change lives. And I'm so excited you are all here. So let's jump into it. What is Living Well with Dr. Michelle all about? And really, this is a mission. This isn't just a book. This is a mission. This is how we are going to live well as a world. Why you and the world need this book. So, our world isn't well. There are so many scary stats. For the second year in a row, life expectancy has actually decreased in the United States. And for the very first time in history, our children are sicker than their parents or grandparents were at the same age. That one to me is the most concerning statistic because, there's obesity, autoimmune disease, mental health challenges, allergies. This is our future. This is a future of our world, and we're going in the wrong direction. The one that's really interesting to me is health span. So we talk about the difference between lifespan, which is the length of time you live, and health span, which is the quality of the time that you live. And I want those to be about the same, right? If I'm going to live to 100, I want to be feeling great about 99.5% of those years. But right now, the average health span in the United States is 61.9 years. What does that mean? By 61.9 years of age, statistically, we won't be able to dress ourselves, feed ourselves, get out of a chair without assistance. What? I'm sorry, but that's not okay. I'm not that far away from that time. So this isn't okay that lifespan is decreasing. It's in the mid 70s, about 73 years. Health span is decreasing. It's 62 years. So first of all, for the last decade of our lives, we're not going to live the quality of life we're looking for. But then we're really only estimated to live to about 75 anyway. Both of those things aren't okay with me. And 50% of the world agrees that we're going in the wrong direction. So what's going on? Why aren't we living well? What's happening here? So I want to share with you an interesting story. I was actually able to go on a bucket list trip to Morocco about a month and a half ago now. And on this trip, I had the opportunity to take a camel out into the desert. We rode the camel out to this Berber camp out in the middle of the Sahara Desert. We stayed there overnight. And then the next morning we woke up and they gave us the option to either ride the camels back or to take a truck back. Well, everyone in the camp, including my husband, decided to take the truck back, except for myself, my daughter, and her friend that she brought with us. So there were just the three of us that decided we were going to take our camels back. Well, this was my camel. You can see here, his name is Jafar. And Jafar was in pictures. Apparently, he has a passport. He was in movies. You can see that he definitely could use some dental work. And they weren't just going on looks when they were picking Jafar for the role here. But Jafar had an interesting habit. As he walked down the desert, walked across the desert, he always wanted to turn backward because in camel world, only one male camel gets to be with the girls. So Jafar was sure. Jafar wasn't the boy. He was not the one that was the lucky one. So he was sure there was a girl back there in the back of the camel train that he could get with. He was wrong. They only have male camels in the camel train, but he was always sure of it. So as we were walking along the Sahara Desert, there were the three of us on camels. Myself and Jafar were the lead camel and a big string of camels behind us. Well, he kept turning around to go backward. And so my guide had to walk in front of me. This is actually a picture of my guide. He had to walk in front of us, leading Jafar along. Well, as we were walking again, I have his rapt attention, right? Because it's just he and I and, a couple, my daughter and her friend. So I started asking him questions, and I started asking the things that I often ask, things like, how did you live when you were in the desert? And he told us that he had actually been nomadic. So he and his family were nomadic for his first 15 years of life. They would go somewhere and his animals would have food to eat. And when the food was gone, they would pack up everything and then they would move to another camp. So for 15 years, this was their life. So of course, this started all these questions going on in my mind. Well, what about this? And what about this? And we passed this milk thistle bush on the way. And I know that milk thistle is very medicinal. You can use the leaves, the flowers, the roots for medicine. And so I thought, well, I wonder if they would use milk thistle when they were nomadic. So I just asked him, what did you do when you got sick? When you were sick and you were living out in the desert, did you use things like milk thistle? What was your medicine? And he turned around, walked backwards, pulling Jafar. And he looked at me with this really confused expression in his eye, in his face. And he said, we didn't get sick. And I just sat there and I said, you didn't get sick? And he said, no, we didn't get sick. And I realized that we were looking at wellness the wrong way. We are thinking that we have to get sick before we return to wellness. But our bodies are actually divinely designed to stay well. So that really got me thinking. And this unwell majority that's in the nation today, in the world today, 54% or more, I was actually part of that unwell majority. You probably know my story. The very short version of it is that I got sick from drilling out mercury fillings. I got sick from my work. And it was something that I never expected to have happen. I never thought that just doing dentistry would make me deathly ill. I nearly lost my practice. I really lost my health for years. It took me 8 years to detox from all of this mercury exposure. I was part of that unwell majority. And really, when I got to that place, it really left me at this very uncomfortable fork in the road. And I want to read to you some portions from the book today. So this is on page 76 of the book. When I got sick, I found myself at a very difficult fork in the road. My grandfather was a doctor. My father was a dentist. And I had followed in their footsteps, learning and practicing the modern Western medicine framework. Unfortunately, this medical model didn't provide me with the tools that I needed to stay well and prevent illness in the first place. Nor was it giving me the answers that I needed to get well once I was sick. When I found out that my health problems stemmed from mercury poisoning, I started to question modern Western medicine and my education in general. If I hadn't been taught about the dangers of mercury, what else was missing from my education? Frustrated and feeling like I only knew half of the story, I ventured onto a new path, looking further back than the last 150 years of modern medicine. And what I found surprised me in many ways. Now, the book is not about my story. I do share my story in brief, and I share my story about how I got well in brief. But honestly, the book is about how I got well and how you can be well too. So this new path started me into more confusion. At first, I was so confused about what was wrong. It took me forever, doctor after doctor after doctor, to try to figure out what was really wrong with me when I was so sick. But then once I figured this out, I became consumed with how to get better, how to get well. And I just got more confused because there were so many choices. So I started going back to school. I started, learning everything I could, buying half the books you see behind me and reading them and just immersing myself in all of these options to get well. But I found too many answers. There's too much information today. There's not a lack of information, there's a lack of clarity. So in this confusion and point of confusion, I couldn't do anything. And this is actually a true point just from psychology. If we're confused, we cannot move forward. And if any of you ever felt like that, like you're just stuck, you want to get better, you want to feel better, you want to have more energy, you want to have a better quality of life. These are all these things you want, but you don't know what to do to get there. There's just so many choices, and people bombard us with, well, this is the diet plan that everyone has to do. This is the supplement that everyone has to take. And this is the exercise program that everyone has to follow. But I'm going to debunk that today. There is no one size fits all solution for this, because At the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of cells. We're all just a bunch of cells, and our cells need different things at different times, and different cells need different things. So, from page 14, did you know that your brain can hold 5 times as much information as the Encyclopedia Britannica? And that your nerve impulses travel at 170 miles per hour on the same amount of power as a 10-watt light bulb? Or that your life-giving heart creates enough pressure to project blood 30 feet? How about the fact that in one day that blood travels a total of 12,000 miles in one day? Not to be outdone, your eyes take in more information than the largest existing telescope. Your lungs have a surface area the size of a tennis court, and you can have 2/3 of your liver removed from trauma or surgery, and it will grow back to its original size in 4 weeks. Your body is constantly repairing and rebuilding, producing 300 billion new cells every day, all without you needing to consciously direct the process. So we are just a whole bunch of cells that are incredible and have the ability to keep us well. So I use this example a lot, but I'm going to say it again. When you cut your finger, you might put a Band-Aid on your finger, and it might keep it clean. It might hold the sides of the cut together. It might do a few things, but does that Band-Aid do the healing? The answer is no. That Band-Aid does not heal you. That Band-Aid supports your cells in doing what they already know to do. So I'm going to tell you that all medicine, all diet plans, all supplements, all exercise programs, they're just Band-Aids. They are just there to support your job in doing what they already know how to do. So what is our job? It's to give them what they need to do their job. That's the question we should all be asking. We're asking the wrong question when we're asking, what medicine should we take? Should we use modern or traditional medicine? That was the wrong question I was asking. What supplement should I take? Wrong question. What diet should I eat? What food should I take out of my diet? Wrong question. The right question is, what do my cells need? And how can I give that to them? So that is the premise of the book, is to help you, number one, figure out what your cells need, and number two, to give them what they need, to give you the energy that you need to live the life that you want. I'm going to take you back to 1897. This is when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. But interestingly enough, there was another scientist named Swan that was working in England at the same time and figuring out the same things. So Edison's bulbs lit up New York City, and Swan's bulbs lit up the estates of England. At the same time, there were other innovators like Nikola Tesla that was figuring out how to manage this on and off light that Edison and Swan had figured out. This is the kind of thing that I want you to apply to your cells and how they work. These innovations quite literally changed how we see the world. But did you know that your body works in ways that are strikingly similar to those darkness-shattering bulbs? Your life depends on the flow of electricity, specifically the flow of electrons through each cell in your body. In this book, you'll learn about this concept of cellular or biologic electricity or bioelectricity, the literal electrons that course through your cells and body. Think of bioelectricity as the body's own language, spoken through tiny electrical impulses. When this flow of electricity through your cells stops, life stops. Life and death are binary categories, on and off, light and dark. However, living encompasses all the degrees of light in between. Our bodies are not simply machines designed to operate at one set speed. Instead, by adding more electrons, we can increase our energy to create the brightest, most brilliant versions of ourselves. This living is what Living Well with Dr. Michelle is all about. This is what I want to give to you. When I talk with patients, I find that they want their energy turned up to high. They want to play with their kids or their grandkids. They want to mow their lawn or work in their garden or cook or golf or keep working in a career they love, make sourdough bread. This is what living means to them. And for me, living well and wellness meant being able to continue my mission of teaching people how to live well. And when I was sick, I couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy to do it. So our bodies have this intrinsic energy channel, this way to keep well. So I will give this QR code to you at the end as well as that link right there, livingwellbook.com. This is where you start. You are going to go take the seasons assessment. The seasons assessment tells you which of your cells need help first, because that is the right question. Which cells need help first? And then the next question is, what do they need? As I did all of those years of research, what I found is that if we can keep one cell well, we can keep every cell well, because they all need supplies, support, security, and signals. So let me give you some short examples of this. Kim was a patient who loved her work. She actually was a counselor. She loved helping people, but she wasn't able to because she literally had uncontrolled diarrhea. She was visiting the bathroom so often, she couldn't commit to anything, including a patient appointment. She was losing weight. She was losing her hair. It was absolutely insane, and she did not know what to do about it. Well, as we worked through things, we found out that there were some dental connections. She had some infected teeth we needed to remove, but a large piece of this was supplies. And she couldn't supply her system because her gut wasn't working properly. So we started working intensively with her gut health and providing her gut what it needed to get well, so then she could then absorb what she needed to get well. After about 3 months, all the diarrhea stopped. Her gut started absorbing again, and it was it was such a relief for her, such a relief. She started putting weight back on. She started getting her hair back. These are all symptoms. The symptoms are the key. We don't want to cover up the symptom. We want to interpret it. And that's what the assessment does, is helps you interpret which cells need help first and what do they need. Kim's cells needed supplies. They also needed support. We had to get rid of that infected tooth to be able to give her body the ability to keep her immune system well, her body the ability to heal. So she needed supplies and support. Serena's story was an interesting one. She is a singer, but she never booked anything from about November to April because she was never sure that she was going to be well enough. She got sick every single winter and never knew when she was going to have a sore throat or a cough or a hoarse voice, and she wasn't going to be able to sing. I looked at her and I said, "What are you doing just sitting like a sitting duck waiting for the next bug to come along? You need to secure your cells." So I gave her a protocol for how to secure her cells: oregano oil, elderberry, and vitamin C every single day. She didn't get sick for over a year because your cells need security and you can provide them with what they need. Luis had a really interesting story. He was dragged to my office by his wife because he was snoring at night. Well, the real big underlying story that they told me when they were there is that he'd had a heart attack at 52, and his dad had died of a heart attack around the same age. His wife was terrified that he was just going to die the next night. He was going to die, and that snoring potentially had something to do with it. She was absolutely right. He had a very blocked airway, and I talk a lot about airways if you watch my social media things, because oxygen is so crucial for cell signaling, for the way that every single cell works. If your cells don't get oxygen, they simply cannot create enough energy to do things like pump your heart. So we figured out a way to increase his energy immediately. He started earthing, which delivered electrons to his cells immediately, opened up things immediately with a laser treatment on the back of his throat, started getting him more air, and then we made more room in his mouth so he could get enough oxygen. Within 6 months' time, his blood pressure had dropped exponentially and he was able to go off medication, because the medication was simply covering up the symptom, but not fixing a thing. But we took care of the blockage, which gave him more oxygen, which actually fixed the problem. It's all about cell signaling. Cells have to be able to talk to one another, and oxygen provides that signaling and that talking, and he couldn't do it. So he was setting himself up for the next heart attack that was going to take him out. These are the 4 things that every cell needs. And what does living well mean to you? This is the question that I always ask, because in this book, I teach you how to harness the power of the earth and the seasons to power up your cells and have the energy you need to live your mission. What is your mission? What does living well mean to you? Is it, like I said, a career, working longer like Kim did? Is it like Serena, being able to sing, which was one of the things she loved to do? Was it like Luis, being able to actually live and continue providing for his family and being a partner for his wife? That was what living well meant to them. And the answers for all of those things are in the book. My mission is to help the world live well. And it's to help you live well so you can fulfill your mission. This is why all profits from this book are going to charity. Things like regenerative agriculture and clean water, things I talk about and teach about in the book. Everything that comes from this book is going to help all of us live well. My goal is 5,000 books this week. It's not about the bestseller list, but that's what they look at. The 5,000 is about more people living well, about 5,000 more people living well and living their own mission. And then if they share with one person each, that's 5,000 more. And that is how this movement spreads. So I have an ask for you. If you can please buy the book, share the information you learn so that you can help other people live well, then you are helping me live my mission. So come along with me. Join me in helping the world live well. We need to fix what's going on because we are going in the wrong direction. We are not well in the world today, and there's so much confusion about how to get there that we often can't move forward. That's exactly what the book gives you, is a starting place and a path to clearly pass through all the mountains of information on either side every day. Every day we're bombarded with this, but this is how you navigate it. So go to livingwellbook.com, buy your book, print, Audible, Kindle, start with your free bonuses. So get on there. You're going to get free bonuses today, the digital version of the assessment, as well as a first steps guide. Share, please, and thank you. Social media, online, friends and family, tag me, livingwellwithdrmichelle.com, and expand. If you have employees, patients, followers, and you would like to buy 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 50 books, contact me and just DM me on social media and we will get that in order. We'll get that happening for you because, again, my mission is to help you live well. So this is not just a book. It's a movement to help people live well so that they can fulfill their unique mission. I want to help you live well every day, to do what you love, to fulfill your unique potential. That potential is dependent on learning how to power up your cells, to find health and healing everywhere around you, and to live with unbelievable levels of energy naturally. It's possible. You are the one with your finger on your own dimmer switch. Everything you need to know to live your life to its fullest and reach your highest potential is right here in these pages. Let's get started. Thank you all for joining me today. I just can't even thank you enough. I am so appreciative for your support, for you following along, for you helping to share this mission, and for you wanting to learn how your body and cells work so that you can live well. I am so appreciative. And this week, keep checking in with everything that's going on. We're giving away all sorts of things, including a free meeting with me. That's the grand finale giveaway we're giving away on Saturday. Join it on all of the social channels. I just have some comments I'm seeing it here over, I feel the same. Wow, the lack of clarity is so overwhelming. Our bodies are amazing. It took 2 years to get diagnosed from health issues. I had an infection from wisdom teeth. Exactly. Doctors kept telling me I just have anxiety and depression. So if you're still dealing with health issues, there's some missing pieces, and your body and cells have the ability to keep you well. Thank you all. Thanks for joining me today, and lots more to come because this is just the start of my mission.